Okay, hello. I am Cédric Vanhoeck from Resortecs. With Resortecs, we offer for brands that advocate circular economy two solutions. One is a stitching thread that dissolves at high temperature and that enable you to disassemble easily, repair, and recycle garments. And the other thing is that we develop strategic roadmaps that help brands with having well-informed decisions based on environmental and financial assessments of their supply chain. But before digging into the subject that I want to discuss with you, I first want to tell you a little story. And it's a story about a shoe, which is called Joan. And like all shoes, Joan likes to walk around and discover the world. But on one moment, just as us, she ends up in a box down in the basement or in the attic or in the closet, somewhere in a place that people tend to keep their old shoes that they can't throw away because they still have an emotional connection with it. But there comes a time that your mother asks you to clean your room or that you're moving out and that you're finding back that shoe called Joan. And on that moment, the emotional connection disappeared, so you can just trash her without any regrets. And the reason why we call Joan Joan in this little story is not just because we like that name, but it's because that everything that comes now, after this stage in the story, looks quite similar to the end of life of Joan of Arc, so quite medieval. Because the first thing that you could imagine is, of course, burning. 80% of garments or shoes are burnt at the end of life. Just imagine that some products even are burned before end of life because they're never sold and never used. So you're just born and thrown into the incinerator. The second option, which was probably also an option that were thought of by the French when thinking of the end of life of Joan of Arc, is getting drowned. This is also a lot of, for 8 million tons of plastics, including shoes, the case. And the third option, which is presented currently as the best option, still quite horrible, is to first be put in a mixer and then be spread in the backing of a carpet as insulative material so that your brothers and sisters can just trample you. At Resortecs, we think it's time to change that. And we would like to enable facelifts at the shoes, or at least sole lifts, in order to be able to give Joan a second life. And not just second life as a backing of a carpet that will still end in an incinerator after its use, but as a high valuable product comparable to its original product. So that I don't have to end this story by saying, yeah, this is Joan and she gets burned sooner or later, but that I can just start over this story endlessly. And what is applicable for Joan the shoe is applicable for the teddy bear Joan, or the cushion, or the furniture, or the suitcases, or the backpacks, or the car seatings, or the jacket, the trousers, everything that is textile and that surrounds you. The main question is, why is it so hard to recycle all those products? Why is it that all those products get burned? And the answer is quite simple. It's hard points. At least that is how it's called in the recycling industry. Buttons, zippers, some labels that complicate so much recycling that it nearly becomes impossible technically, but then especially financially. And that is what we're working on. We developed a stitching thread that allows you that you can just put in your stitching machine, you stitch your garments with it, and on the moment you want to eliminate those hard points, or you want to dismantle your garment in order to repair it easily or recycle it easily, you just heat it up, the thread dissolves, and those hard points fall out. So no need, like what you could imagine to do today, no need of putting it in a heavy shredder that just gives you low quality fibers of really short length that you can't use for anything else than putting it under my feet here. And no need to put a scissor in your hand and start cutting it manually. Because just think about the quantity of garments out there that needs to be dismantled today. It's just impossible. It's like you will just need 5 lives, I think, minimum, to be able to process all those buttons. It's really simple. Make the jacket with a thread and just apply heat. It can be done with a heat gun. You can do it in an oven. Whatever heat source that you can imagine, you can use to dismantle the thread and take apart all the different pieces in order to recycle the textile material. If you focus on the thread, it looks like this. So heat is applied, and then you see that the white thread, especially on the blue back, you see that it disappears, and then it releases these different materials quite easily. And as you can see, it's usable with most of the textiles and leathers used in the fashion industry today. Because we developed 3 threads. One classic thread that is compatible with the chemical recycling processes that are upcoming today. A second thread that is the most easy thread to use and is moreover biosourced and is a perfect match for denim products, workwear, sportwear. And then lastly, we also have a thread that fuses not at 180, 190 degrees Celsius, but at 60, 70 degrees Celsius, so that you can also use it for wool and knits, which are quite valuable materials in the recycling industry. For that technique and the process, we won the Global Change Award in 2018, which also brought us here in the mills. Today we are beyond patenting and a minimal viable product, going towards the construction of a fully dismantleable and automated oven, as well as our first seed round capital investment. So if you know brands that are willing to test with us this whole process, recyclers that are willing to share their knowledge, or advisors that are willing to join our board of advisors currently under construction. But most importantly, if you know people that have deep pockets, that are willing to invest it in a really interesting technology, just grab us and find us. Vanessa and I are here the whole day and even at the dinner tonight. I am Cédric Vanhoeck, the co-founder of Resortecs, this company that developed that stitching thread that is going to revolutionize the fashion industry. I thank you for your attention.